SOFI update here on the 1st. So nice chop here, going higher. It's painful to watch, but it is going higher if you're long, then you like to see it. And we did fill the gap that I talked about in the last video at 866. So that was nice. Went ahead and erased that. Get rid of these right here. The next gap is at 9:30. We have one at 10:30, and there's one up here at 11:29. So we got three gaps ahead to the upside. And before we go into what I expect, the daily standard deviations, you can see down here in May, we came to the very outside of -2, and then we went straight up. Currently, we are below -1 on the standard deviations on this move down. We're bouncing right here. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for it to go fill this gap and then go down to $6. That would be way too far below this. So I think that this has more upside in the next month or so, maybe even going into earnings. I think that at the minimum we fill this gap at 9:30, potentially gap fill at 10:30. This would be very far-fetched here at 11:30, but I could see 9:30 almost, I would say 9 out of 10 times we're going to fill that gap, and then this is probably a 50-50 shot, and then this is probably like just based on what I see here, very slim chances of that filling anytime soon, because we are in a corrective move right here. So you can see where we're at in the chart. Basically, we're at the very bottom of the range. We should bounce a little bit more. The overall structure of the move, again, if you haven't watched past videos, I do think this was a 5-wave move. It was a diagonal though as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. That's 5 waves. And then we get this big 5-wave move down here. So that's an A wave right there. We're currently in a B wave. So if we're currently in a B wave, we've already filled the gap at 866. If I go over this like using Elliott wave, it's kind of hard to even put into structure like what this is. We did hit the 1.61 fib basically perfectly right here. So this might be some kind of 5-wave move that's nested, but I'm not going to go into it that far. We did hit the 1.61 fib, and then we got this move off the top right here. This looks to me like it could be something like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came down here early next week, maybe into the low 850s. And if that were to happen, I would look at that most likely as maybe like a WX move. So at that point, I would be wanting to go long again, and I'd be looking for the next move up to hit at least 952. So basically, the overall structure, I see this as probably something like an ABC move. 952 is the 1.61 fib. That would fill the gap. There's a supply zone right here. You can see it on the hourly. Little supply zone right here. On the 4 hour, it's a little bit bigger, but right here, we fill the gap, hit a supply zone. Up here, supply zone. Fill the gap right here, and another supply zone right here, fill the gap. So supply zone. So those are the three areas I'd be looking for on a bounce. I do expect the overall market to continue higher over the next couple of weeks, just looking at other stocks. And I did a market review if you want to watch that as well. Everyone's bearish here, and everyone thinks that we're going to crash after Labor Day. And so I think that that also plays into it as well. And this move is pretty tough because you want to sell covered calls here, continually, just sell covered calls, because it does not look strong at all. But this could be a very drawn out move. It could last a couple more weeks, could last to the end of September. Who knows? But again, 930 should hit, in my opinion, at the minimum. And then this is probably 50-50, 1030. And then I'm looking for a move down after that whenever this completes. If we go down to, if we only go to 930, then we could potentially come all the way down here, but that seems kind of low to me. So if we do go to 1030, actually seems more reasonable for these being the same length. And again, we don't have to go to the same length as wave A. It could just go to the 1.23 fib, which is at $7, 707. So it remains to be seen. Corrective moves are very unpredictable, but as I showed you earlier in the video, we're at the bottom of the range. On the weekly, though, we are at the top of the range. So that's something to think about too. Even if we come up here to 930 or come back up here to 1030, we're probably going to get another move down, and it makes going down into the sixes not look as unreasonable here. So I mean, standard deviation is kind of a last indicator, but it is a good way to put things in perspective to know where you're at in the chart. So down here in May, we're at the bottom, we went straight up. Now we're at the bottom again. Are we going to go straight up? But on the weekly, where are we at on the weekly in May? On the weekly in May, we're down here in the middle area. So we could go straight up. Now we're at the top of that area, so going up is not as likely. So putting that all into perspective, 930 and 1030 are kind of my targets, and then I'm expecting another move down. Where that goes, we'll see, but there are gaps down here at 602 and 546. So depending on how much the market corrects, we could come all the way down here. And then that would end up being either a wave B, and I would expect more upside after that, or that could be a wave 2. Something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Not much more to say on that. Just look for the gap fills at 930 and 1030. But overall, that's pretty much it. So I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're not subscribed, I do updates on SOFI maybe once a week on average, I would say, maybe once every 2 weeks. But I do other growth stocks as well. So if you want more updates and you want tickers done, leave them in the comments. I'll leave it at that for now. Anyway, have a good long weekend. Talk to you next week.